I can go on and on and on, but that 0, I can't go to the negatives. I can go from 0 and on. Looking at number 6, kind of similar to what we did on, what was that? Number 2. So h of 3, oh, that 3 took the place of x. So I'm going to look on my x-axis, and here's my x-axis. Oh, I'm looking at where x is 3. X is 3 right here. That means y, the outcome, is 5. So my answer here is 5. But now I need to look at h of x, which is also the same as saying y. So let's look at that y-axis. That y-axis is right here. Oh, I'm looking at where y is -1. So let's look for -1. Oh, there's -1. And so I need to look for where my, I need to look for where my x is negative, where my x is, where the outcome is -1. Oh, sorry, y'all. Life is happening. Life. All right. -1. Oh, if I come over here, your x is -3. Okay. Remember, feel free to pause the video, rewind it, do whatever you need to do to help you better understand what the heck is going on. All right, we are moving on. We are pushing through. We're back at talking about domain and range. Remember, domain are your x values, and we read them from left to right. Range are your y values, and we read them from bottom to top. If it is an open circle, then that means there's some flexibility there. If it is a closed circle, that means it is firm. All right, domain left to right. My left side is -4, and it's an open circle, and it ends over here at -1. But we also have another graph that starts at 1. Let me erase some of this so y'all can see it.
We've all been under a considerable amount of stress.
Okay, sorry. Starts at 1 and ends all the way over here at 5, and they are both open circles, so it is a parenthesis. And the reason why we use a union symbol is because we're talking about this graph and this graph. Okay? Range is bottom to top. My bottom number is -5. Oh, but notice that this graph is within those parameters of -5. See, it goes from -5 all the way up there to the top to 4. So -5, open circle, all the way up to 4. And we're only doing 1 because there's no gap. There's no separation. Remember, on our range, we had stopping here and starting here. So you have that gap for domain. But since we're talking about range, there's no gap in between -5 all the way up to 4. All right. We're going to keep it pushing on to 8. Okay, now with number 8, we made a table. We had... trying to see where I can put my table. Maybe up here. Okay. And the instruction said, graph the function f of x equals cube root of x minus 6. Plot the 5 points on the graph as follows. So cube root of x equals 0. So this is telling us to plot the first point. So our first point is 0. And I put it in the middle because I noticed it says plot 2 points to the left and 2 points to the right. All right, so the function is f of x equals cube root of x minus 6. These are your x's. These are going to be your x's and your y's. All right. So if I do cube root of 0 minus 6, that's going to give me negative 6. If I go 2 to the left, I'm going to use negative 1 and negative 8 because I know those are perfect cube roots. Negative 1 minus 6, cube root of negative 1. What times what times what is going to get you negative 1 is negative 1. Minus 6 is negative 7. So negative 1 and negative 7. What times what is going to get you negative 8? Negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So my answer is negative 2. But then we got to subtract the 6. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. I know that can be a little tricky, so pause the video so you can come back to it. And I'm going to use those same numbers, but make them positive. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Cube root of 1 minus 6. 1 minus 6 is negative 5, so you have 1 and negative 5. Cube root of 8. Well, I knew the cube root of negative 8 was negative 2, so the cube root of 8 is positive 2 minus 6, which is going to get me negative 4. Then you would just come over here and plot the points. We're on to 9 and 10. All right, it gets a little bit more simpler. So on number 9, it's kind of like a matching game. I gave you 6 examples of functions and not a function. So these are going to be all of your functions. Pause the video so you can write them down. And then these are your not a functions.
Me something, no matter how pretty they make you, just don't let them erase you.
Promise.
Alright, so now that I know all that, let's look at the first one. Y equals 3x squared minus 2. Which one does that look like?
I was worried.
Number 4. Number 4 is a function. Y squared equals 4x looks like...
What if I told you that there's an alternative?
That should be a square. Looks like 6, and 6 is not a function. X equals 8y squared plus 5 looks like 5, and 5 is not a function. 3x minus y equals 9 looks like 2, and 2 is a function. Number 10, I gave you guys a copy of some examples of graphs that look like this. And so I told you guys in class to go through and just label these. And we are seeing which graph matches up with mine. So this is just a matching game. That sheet is something that you probably want to copy onto your note card that you will be using to your final exam. So you should have gotten H, E, A, C.